Hello, today I'm going to discuss sustainable energy. Water, wind, heat, and waste. What do these things have in common? These are the elements that make up the Earth's greatest sustainable energy sources. Who would have thought that the water that we drink and the breeze that we feel could power entire cities? The benefits of utilizing what the Earth naturally produces are unimaginable, and the research shows if we took advantage of the sunlight that is shone down on Earth for just 1 hour, we could meet the world's energy demands for an entire year. The first energy source that I would like to talk about is solar power. It is the cleanest and most abundant renewable energy source available to us. The definition for solar power is energy converted from the sun into thermal or electrical energy. We have created several different ways to harness solar energy. A few of those are active solar systems, which would include photovoltaics, solar heating and cooling, and concentrating solar power. So that would be like storing it up. These convert the sun's energy, heat, or light to another form of usable energy. So like the solar panels that we put on houses and buildings. Another way of doing that, of harnessing the energy, would be passive solar energy, which is buildings that are designed to collect, store, and distribute the sun's energy. Solar energy is a flexible energy technology. It can be built as a distributed generation, which is located at or near the point of use. So like I said, the solar panels that we put on houses and buildings, or it can be a central station like a utility scale solar power plant. So those would be kind of like the power plants that we use already for our energy and electricity. So it would store up the power so that it could be distributed evenly over time. So both of these methods can store the energy they produce for distribution after the sun sets, which I think is kind of cool. Hydropower is the next sustainable energy that I would like to discuss. It is the cheapest form of renewable energy, and it is also one of the world's oldest power sources on the planet. So hydropower is defined as electricity generated using the energy of moving water, which is kind of cool when you think about it. Like if your pool broke open and all that water gushed out, you could power your house. The most common type of hydroelectric power plant is like the dam, for instance, the Hoover Dam. It is one of the United States' most famous dams. It stands 726 feet high, and it is also the nation's third largest dam. When it was built, its primary purpose was to control floods of fertile but arid agricultural land and to provide a reliable source of water and electrical power for millions of people in its adjacent area. The biggest hydro plant in the United States is located at the Grand Coulee Dam on the Columbia River in northern Washington. More than 70% of the electricity in Washington is produced through hydroelectric facilities, but not just the Grand Coulee Dam. I just had to specify that because it is a little confusing. The hydroelectric power provides almost 1/5 of the world's electricity, which I thought was kind of cool. So touching back on the world's oldest form of electricity, in the late 19th century, hydropower became a source of generating electricity. So in Niagara Falls, Niagara Falls is home to the first hydroelectric power plant, and that was built in 1879. In 1881, street lamps in the city of Niagara Falls were powered by that hydropower. And then the world's first hydroelectric power plant began operating in Appleton, Wisconsin in 1882. They're kind of scattered all over the United States now, so that's kind of cool that it's spread. Biomass energy is the final one that I wanted to talk about because I had never heard of it, so I thought it was kind of cool to dig into it. It is defined as energy that is made up of organic material that comes from plants or animals. Biomass can be burned directly, or it can be converted to liquid biofuels or biogas that can be burned as fuels. For example, a few years back, probably more than a few, but ethanol was a really big thing. And so I looked into that and researched what ethanol was. And it's made up from crops such as corn and sugarcane that are fermented to actually produce the fuel ethanol that we use in our vehicles now. It says that biomass fuels provide about 5% of total primary energy use in the United States, and that was in 2017. So hopefully that's gone up, because the more you look, there's more like flex fuel cars and stuff like that. And using biomass for energy has its drawbacks and it has its benefits. It cuts back on waste and greenhouse gas emissions, which is good for us and the planet. It offers other significant environmental and consumer benefits as well, including improving forest health, which everybody knows we need those trees for oxygen, and protecting the air quality and offering the most dependable, renewable energy source, because obviously it's always turning over. Biomass energy is all around us and we don't even realize it. Some examples of biomass are wood and wood processing wastes, such as from construction sites, agricultural crops and waste material, food, yard, and wood waste in the garbage, and then animal manure and human sewage. Ew. One of the coolest things that I thought when I was researching, that I cool little fact, was that if you have a fireplace, you're actually participating in the use of biomass energy, as the wood that you burn is considered a biomass fuel. Sustainable energy is such an under talked about topic. Personally, myself, usually I will drown people out when they talk to me about it, because I just think they're tree huggers and that doesn't really interest me, but it actually is relevant and it could improve so many things if we just took the time to listen to the people that have taken the time to research it. A few interesting facts that I found out while I was doing this research was that just one wind turbine could generate enough electricity to power 1,400 homes, or that renewable energy creates 5 times more jobs than fossil fuels, which is like the oil and gas companies and coal, all those things that are not really good for the environment. How about that solar energy is not just a daytime deal? Like I touched on earlier, it's really cool how they have produce those solar panels that will store up the energy. So if you're having a cloudy day, you won't be without power because it's saved up some of that energy. And then the final thing that blew my mind that I touched on earlier was the fact that if we took full advantage of the sunlight that comes, that we receive from the sun on Earth for just 1 hour, a single hour, 60 minutes a day, we could meet the world's energy demand for an entire year, which I thought was really cool. So that's all I have for sustainable energy. I hope that you enjoyed this presentation, and I just wanted to say thank you for having me in your class. Have a good night.